moving on to our next presentation, it's quite interesting and a relevant one. That is on how to limit human and animal conflicts by understanding their behaviors and their interactions with humans. And I'm sure Dr. Shihabudheen's presentation will demystify the human-dog conflict theories we have developed for ourselves. Because as Dr. Jayakrishnan pointed out, ancient Vedic texts have taught us to value stray dogs as a loyal companion, and also traditionally promoted rituals of feeding these dogs as a means of receiving blessings from God. But we have noticed that in the present era, stray dogs have increasingly acquired a negative association or connotation. There is a big hue and cry going about culling stray dogs on one end in the light of alleged rise in dog bites and deaths, especially in Kerala and Mumbai. And nothing short of a war has actually erupted between those who advocate the violent eradication of dogs and who lend a voice to the homeless dogs. So which side of the debate deserves precedence in human-dog conflict? So the answer is complex and deserves sufficient space in our public discourse and policy. So, and I'm happy that Dr. Shihabudheen will be able to, and I hope that you will be able to walk us through this presentation on these pressing issues. Welcome, Dr. Shihabudheen.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you so much for inviting me for this webinar. Especially, I can listen to two legends in the field of community medicine, Jayakrishnan sir and Asma Madam. I had been listening their lectures on rabies, Nipah, on many other subjects. And Dr. Manju contacted me many times to motivate me and also to share my views in this webinar. I shall try my level best. Because as Dr. Jayakrishnan rightly pointed out, we are in a very complex situation and we need a comprehensive approach to tackle this situation. And we have got our history to consider dogs as our very trusted companion. As Dr. Jayakrishnan told, even Yudhishthira told, I don't want to enter into the heaven without my dog. So finally, Devendran agreed for that. As in other scriptures also, Prophet Muhammad, he told one person who gave water to a thirsty dog, which was about to die, and that person will enter to heaven, even though his all other deeds were against the teachings of God. And also when he was moving with the troop, when one stray dog was lying there with its puppies, he told one soldier to be there till the troop movement is over, so that the stray dog will not be damaged or killed by the foots of camels or horses like that. So we have a very good tradition of very good association with the dogs. And also rabies, as we are all very familiar with during our COVID break the chain approach. Rabies may be the only one disease where we can make the human free of rabies, even 99% of the human free of rabies without touching human being. So that much importance is there on controlling and prevention of dog rabies, because when one disease in human can be prevented by without touching or without vaccinating human, that will be a remarkable achievement, because without this thing, dog bite, even 97 to 99% rabies we can prevent. So with that, let me start my presentation, because when we have the comprehensive approach, we have to consider dogs as well as human beings. And we should know the behavioral pattern of dogs and behavioral pattern of human being, which made the dogs, nowadays we say that they are enemies of human being. So human-animal health bond is defined as a mutually beneficial and dynamic relationship, and that are essential to the health and well-being of both. As Dr. Jayakrishnan told, when we were nomads, and when we were without any pakka houses, when human beings were in the forest without any shelter, when we were in the caves, dogs were the animals which protected us, which brought us food. Even before the agricultural revolution or when we started agriculture, dogs helped us to get food by hunting. And they protected us from other animals. They protected us from even other, even other thieves or any from the snakes or anything which comes to you. That dog will protect you even by sacrificing its life. So that much loyalty was there from the dogs when we were with the dogs. You will not see any in the nomadic state, or when the shepherds are moving and all, you will not see any movement without the presence of dogs. But as time progressed, we were in a better situation. Better situation means we got very pakka houses, very strong houses, and we got the food from other sources. We didn't need food by hunting, and we had got the protection of the houses, compound walls, everything. That time what happened is we threw away dogs actually to the street. That way this stray dogs came. That means we are responsible for that. But that doesn't mean that we have to protect stray dogs at the cost of human lives. So there should be a balance. We must understand the dog psychology. We have to protect them. At the same time, more importantly, we have to protect the human being also. Now the crisis came, and now we have to find an amicable solution, and by a comprehensive approach, we have to solve the issue. So human-canine bonding can be traced back to at least 15,000 years ago. You can see this skeleton of two, one lady and one man, and with a skeleton of a dog that's born, Oberkassel dog, that was 15,000 years ago. Because even during that time, with this thing, human and dogs had a very good bonding with each other. So this canine familiaris, this present-day dog, has evolved from the grey wolf. Because whenever people are there, the dogs will approach you. They want to get something to eat. They need only that thing, and our love and affection. In return, they are ready to sacrifice their life. They don't need anything else. They just want some food that's left out from you. And that way, this wolves came to human, and also that bond become very strong. And that is the beginning of this evolving of the dog that we see now, this Canis familiaris, present-day dog. The most widely accepted hypothesis is that the dog is domesticated grey wolf. And the location is presumed to be Europe and places of Far East. You can see the grey wolves, and even you can see, if you look at our present German Shepherd, or even the head of the Siberian Husky, and all, very similar to this thing, grey wolves. And dogs are very, as I told, very important in our human life, as therefore the guarding and the human castle, and also herding livestock, pulling sleds, carts, finding animals and searching for victims, hunting, assisting police, for many purposes we use dogs. But at the same time, we have to control the stray dogs. You can see the hunters with their dog. And the close contact has prompted dogs to develop a number of skills. So that is the most important thing that comes in the education of our public. Because we have to educate our public about the dogs, about all the animal welfare activities, and also how to approach a dog, and what's the psychology of the stray dog they see every day. But any gesture from the stray dog, even if we can understand what it's intending to do, that will help us to get protected from that, the bite of that dog. So that's a one part, because Dr. Jayakrishnan, when he invited me for this talk, he told that the public should have an awareness about the this behavioral pattern of the dogs, so that that part also very important in getting the zero rabies by 2030. That's a motto of WHO and also by the government of India. And the researchers found that even without training, even because the dogs they will watch the human being very closely, and just like just a momentary point, if you point to a food items or anything else, that stray dog, it can understand what you are doing, because that's without any training. That much intelligent the dogs are to understand the human behavior, and also human this thing, any gesture they can understand very well, and we have to deal them accordingly. You can see a person that dogs are around him, but they are not doing anything on him, because they just receive food and enjoy the time there. So they closely observe the human whom they are meeting for the first time, and they use their understanding of humans to make a decision. This shows their intelligence and adaptability. So by that way, they became very adaptable for the environment. And Anita Batra, she studied a lot, and she has done a lot of work on stray dogs. And she made a lot of remarks regarding the behavior of stray dogs and other owner dogs. And they're quite capable of understanding our body language, and we need to give them their space. And also a little empathy and respect for another species can reduce a lot of conflict. That's very important in today's scenario. And their habitat is dogs live wherever they are sheltered. Or even if you don't give shelter, they'll find out how to live. That's why that we are seeing in our townships and all, the feral dogs, when there is there's some place for hiding. They will spend their nights there, daytime there, and in night they went for getting their food. And feral dogs tend to live in countryside, and also in shelter in cities. They get shelter in vacant building, garages, and under parked cars and stairways. So we have to see, because this is very important, because when we conduct the ABC program and all, because you will not see any feral dog in the morning hours. And other social behaviors. We know that the dogs are very friendly, and they are very loving. They are very loyal to human being, everything we know. But at the same time, we have to understand their social behavior. Dogs are pack animals, and every pack has an alpha. Within the pack, other members are either dominant or submissive. In other words, every individual has a place. For there to be a peace at home, a dog must view their human order as the alpha. This alpha dog concept is very important, because for the ABC program, some doctors are recommending even the vasectomy. Vasectomy means we have to go for the vasectomy of alpha specifically, because during the mating and all, alpha will get. So if you can get the things rightly done, you will be able to control the this thing population by that way also. Another behavior is, even though they are very close to us, very good to us, their inner instinct of hunting behavior is there. Hunting instinct is there. So hunting instinct or prey drive in dogs is one of the most common yet unpredictable natural behavior that we see when they are chasing the children and all. You know, the garbage, the waste material is creating a lot of problem. The dog's population is increasing by eating this waste material, and also by eating the waste from the slaughterhouses and leftover from the restaurants everywhere. But we have to understand, when these dogs are not getting this waste material for 2 days, then they will look for other alternatives. Then they will look for human, or then when they look for the human is, you know, the psychology of any animal who is a predator, that will look for a prey that's that predator can kill or predator can overpower. So this dog, that's why more children are exposed to the bite of stray dogs. Because for the dogs, the children are easy target, and also the children try to run away. So when this thing prey drive will increase, they will chase the children and they try to overpower. When you hold a dog with confidence, that will remain very calm. So that's very important. So that's now the problem. As Dr. Jayakrishan told, the important problem is many places during the COVID time the number increased, and it is more than the carrying capacity of that area. Carrying capacity of the area and even the food availability, the number of dogs may be more than that. Then the food is not sufficient for all those dogs. That also can lead to the this thing, looking for the other food or increase bite incidence. And territorial aggression, that's very important. Territorial aggression may range from growling, barking, or lunging, chasing, snapping, and bitching. That's once we heard about a lady was bitten and killed at Trivandrum. Because when the dogs in Kerala, especially in Kerala, this urbanization, and there is no space, even the human being, to take rest or to spend some time. Because that much populated, highly populated, the Kerala cities, and even except for very few villages, all are densely populated. So the stray dogs, any dog, whenever they come to the street and they want to take some food and they want to take rest, and some areas they consider as their territory, especially during in beach areas and all, behind the boats and all, they consider that area as their territory. And when some people are entering to that territory, they will violently oppose those entry, and they will try to attack and even bite and try to kill. So that territorial aggression is very important, and we have to understand whenever we move into the territory of dog, we have to be very careful. And reading canine body language, that will help us to what the dog thinks. You can see from the photos when the dog is relaxed, and that you can, from the appearance, when the way it keeps its ears, or the way it keeps its head, or the way it keeps the tail and ears are very important. Just with the other facial expression to understand the canine body language. When it is relaxed, or when it is submissive, you can see the dog rolling in the floor. And because that is the dog is very safe, that they feel very safe and they are very submissive. You can handle very easily those dogs. And when the animal is happy, when there is ready to play, these are all the very exact picturization of the dog behavior. Because I'm seeing in my clinic every day the way the dogs behave. And somebody see differential and please leave me alone, that dog says like that. When the dog is anxious or distressed, its facial expression will be like that. So terrified and fearful, and when it's alert. And also just like all the body language and behavior, if you watch carefully, you will be able to understand what the dog thinks, and that way that will reduce the incidence of any attack from the dog. And because I'll come to those points later. And you can see the negative behaviors are there. Aggression is there, and also they have got a destructive behavior, and urinating, defecating in the home, unwanted barking, self-mutilation, and fear avoidance and appeasement behavior. These are all negative behaviors from the dog, and you can see the different types of aggression. The dog will be aggressive when there is a territorial aggression, I already told, and also protective. You should never go to a dog with its the puppies after delivery, and if you go near to that dog, that will definitely bite, because that will that want to protect its puppies. And also possessive, when it's having any food item or anything with them, if you go to near that dog will attack you, because they want to keep that food safe for But not only food, if some dogs may be playing the ball or whatever it may be, and if they maybe this thing, they just want to bite the bone, and that bone is with them, because they are extremely possessive, and if you go to them, and if they if they feel that that possession will be threatened, that animal, that dog will definitely attack you. And also when there's fear, they will try to be aggressive, and also social, because I told there are packs, maybe 6 or 8 or 10 animals will be there in the pack, and if the dogs feel that their social structure will be disrupted, or if you want to enter into their distinct territory, and if you want to make them separate, and they will try to attack you. And also another defensive aggression is there, because defense when you go to them, and if the dog is in the defensive state, because if it feels that it will get injured from your attack, if you will be punished by you, that dog will become aggressive. And the causes of aggression, other causes of aggressions are the illness, and also possessiveness, frustration, show of dominance, fear, everything will cause the aggression. And you can see the offensive aggression and defensive aggressions are there. And if you look at the different organs, ear or tail, you will be able to see whether it is an offensive aggression or defensive aggression. You can see the posture of the dog, and the way its ears are kept, and the way its tails are kept up. And those are all the lips curled and nose wrinkled, and teeth and often gums visible, and body leaning forward, and legs are stiff. You can see the offensive aggression. But at the same time, aggression is there, but it's defensive. The body lowered, and the hackles raised, ears back, and pupils dilated, nose wrinkled, and teeth may be visible, lips slightly curled, and mouth corner pulled back, and tail tucked in and still. But in both ways, if you go in, you will have to face the aggression of the dog. And dogs experiencing severe this thing. So can this is snarling and growling, lunging, and hyperactive attempts to escape, diarrhea, and excessive barking, you can see. And next is the common dog behavior problems. That's especially we find with the owner dogs. Very few community dogs also will show this. They'll jump up your body, and they want to play like that. Then chewing, and then excessive barking, digging, and chasing, and all those things that you can see. And categories of dogs that we see in the street, not only street, one is the own dogs. Own dogs are family dogs. Second one is the free-ranging own dogs, also farm and pastoral dogs. And third one is a free-ranging unknown dogs, or stray dogs, village dog, or community dog. These have no owner, but are commensals, subsisting on leftover food from human, garbage, or other dogs' food as their primary food source. And next one is even in the free-ranging unknown dogs, feral dogs. Feral dogs differ from other dogs because they did not have close human contact early in their lives. Socialization. Fertilization occurs by the development of a fear response to humans. And next is the wild dogs. That we have to differentiate all these dogs to how to tackle this thing, rabies menace, which was own dogs and family dogs. And another, these free-ranging own dogs are the main problem, because I told that because whenever a feral dog delivers few pups, maybe 6 to 8 pups, many pups will die. And because they are not approaching any human, and they will be in in their own territory, and there is chance of that pups being killed by other dogs, or even the jackals, everything. But you can see the free-ranging unknown own dogs. That is a very familiar scene in our place. Because many people, when they want a dog, but they are not ready to take the responsibility of the dog. So they will let loose that dog in the morning, and that will go run around outside and try to get some food and all, and will come back in the evening and all. At will, it will come back to their home. But the problem is this dog is that when they get pregnant, because in every year these are seasonal breeders, when they get pregnant and they will deliver their pups in the home, maybe in this thing cattle shed, or when there is some hiding place in the house or compound, they will deliver the pups. When the delivery, when the owner see that dog is delivered, means that the pups will be very beautiful pups, and we have got a sympathy and love towards, especially for the pups. At that time, we will try to protect those pups, maybe 6 to 8 pups. That after delivery, what we will do is, the owners, they will give some more food to the dog, and also they will protect the pups by without getting injured from other animals and all. And that's 6 to 8 pups, they will grow up. And once it is after 2 months or 3 months, what the owner will do is, he will leave all these pups to the street. That's what happening in our place. That is the main reason for the increasing number of stray dogs, because this thing free ranging own dogs, and that because the survivability of the pups from those dogs or free ranging own dogs are much more than the free ranging unowned dogs or stray dogs or village dog or community dog. This village dogs and community dogs that we see every day in our streets and all, because they are not afraid of human being. They will come to you. They are ready to accept any food from you, and they'll be very close to you. But the problem is that when the rabies comes, because we are every day facing this problem, because the rabies has the source of rabies is our wild animals. In the wild, there is rabies is there, because we have not done anything to reduce the wild dog rabies. So the jackals, when they get rabbit, they will come out. They will come out and bite the cattle, goat, and also the dogs. What happens is, when a cow is bitten, the owner will immediately come to our veterinary hospital and we'll go for the vaccination of that cow. And another thing, there is no history of spread of rabies from the mammals or cattle, or no, not from mammals, from cattle or goats to human being. Though there is chance, because the saliva, the virus is there in the saliva and all, but the chance of rabies spread is very rare. So, but what we should understand is, when the jackal is coming out and biting the cow, at the same time, that jackal will be biting lot of dogs also. Lot of stray dogs also it will be biting, but that stray dogs are not getting any treatment. And that stray dogs, eventually they'll become the rabid dog. And that is the main reason for the stray dog rabies in our state. And now the problem is that according to our rabies animal birth control ABC rules and all, we cannot euthanize even those dogs. At least we should, as finally I will come to my suggestion, at least we should get permission to euthanize the rabid dog or exposed stray dog, because when you cannot give a complete post-exposure vaccination to the stray dog bitten by a jackal, the rabid jackal. So at least we should get a permission to euthanize the rabid dog or stray dog bitten by a jackal or any rabid dog. And also those when there is a lot of hotspots. Hotspots are there, the dogs are above the carrying capacity, and a lot of aggressive dogs are, and we have to control them. Otherwise, we will not be able to control the rabies with the ABC and other vaccination. Because even today I got, last 2 months back I had got, because I was also responsible for that, because in Chakitapara, one rabid dog was biting all the other people. And that Panchayat president asked the veterinarian to recommend the solution. And that veterinarian called me and asked me what to do, because according to ABC rules, we had to catch that rabid dog and keep it under observation until it dies. But that's not possible, because you cannot approach a rabid dog and that's biting all the people. Then I told, take risk and tell the president to go for the euthanasia. So that way they had done that, and they send the dog to Kozhikode Veterinary College. And after the postmortem, they found that the dog was positive for rabies. Even then, what happened is the next week, a letter came from Delhi to our collector, and collector asked explanation from the Panchayat president as well as from the veterinarian why they killed that dog, rabbit dog. That is the situation. Today also, I got a call from a person in Kuruvattur, very close to us, only 10 kilometers away from here, and that he has got a dog, rabbit dog, and in this, luckily that dog is in this cage. And that dog is showing all signs of rabies, and it is biting on the cages and bars and all, and this creating lot of trouble. And he asked me, please prescribe some medicine for euthanizing that dog, because I told that I cannot prescribe it. As long as this law is here, that's preventing us from euthanasia, I cannot prescribe any medicine for euthanasia. And only the thing that you have to do is you have to keep that cage more stronger. If you can put a strong net about that or something like that, you have to do. Or if you can put one more chain to that dog or something like that, you have to wait till the death of that dog. Otherwise, I cannot prescribe medicine, then I will be in trouble. So because we faced even during the times of that notorious Kudatai Jolly incident that time, she came to us, and our hospital that time I was in disciplinary Kozhikode to get for some medicine for euthanizing the dogs. We are facing, and that created also a lot of headache for us. So we are facing that issue because without legal permission, you cannot go for euthanasia, and without euthanasia, it's not easy to control this rabbit dog and all. So next one is the distinction between, though we tell that there are feral dogs, stray dogs, distinct ranging dogs, and the distinction is not very clear, because all these dogs can interchange. From feral dog, it can be, if it's socialized, it can be a community dog, and if a community dog, if it is adopted, it can be a own dog. So the difference between the dogs is only in a matter of degree. And a stray dog can become feral when it is forced out of the human environment, or when it is co-opted or socially accepted by a nearby feral group. And feral dogs are not reproductively self-sustaining, as I told earlier, suffer from high rates of juvenile mortality, and depend indirectly on humans for their food, their space, and the supply of co-optable individuals. The space is the main problem, because whenever after during the COVID period and all, the dogs were owning all the places, all the streets were theirs. But after the COVID, all the people came out, and the dogs feel that their space is threatened by the influx of human. So that will be their mentality. So that's why after COVID, I think the incidence of bites have increased. Global dog population is 900 million, India 90 million, and Kerala 12 lakhs, around 9 lakhs own dogs, and 3 lakhs stray dogs are there. Any free-ranging unowned dog can be socialized to become an owned dog. So, and being nice to or positive towards dog may result in significantly less conflict with unknown humans. That's the only way, because we cannot remove all the stray dogs from the street, though we have to control it. Even what is remaining, we have to be nice with them. Then only you can reduce the conflict. The same holds true when you do not initiate an interaction or to be neutral to them. That I will show some posters. And this is the way many people are feeding the dogs, and that time the dogs are very friendly to them. But even then we have to understand that many dogs will be in the incubation state of rabies, and even some dogs will be rabbit dogs. That rabbit dogs will not understand those who are nice to them or those who are good to them. They will go everywhere and bite everybody. The chance is there, risk is there. And that's why many people who are with love, that just take the pups or even the kitten from the street, and eventually they like to go for vaccination. And canines are capable of discriminating between positive and negative human facial expression and will react accordingly. So that's what we used to teach the children not to look at the eyes of the dog and don't stare at them. And they don't, so that will, if the dog feel that person is something, maybe going for doing something some harm to that dog, that will be aggressive. And these are some posters issued by the health department, also from animal husbandry department, to educate people. Because you can see that when the dog is sleeping or taking food, you should not go to that dog. And when the dog is frightened or when there is angry, you should not go to that. And if the dog comes to you, you should not run away, because unless you are sure that you can escape from that dog. If you run, miss, that hunting instinct will motivate that dog to chase you, and it will jump at you, and that even chance of biting on the neck is there. Because any predator, that what they will do is they will try to overcome the prey by even biting on the neck. That's why we are seeing the when we went for the rabies case investigation at Kozhikode, we found that the dog bite was on the neck or the face, and all. So that's very dangerous. So, and also when it comes, you have to stand still, and by protecting your private parts or something like that, and if it falls down, or even try to roll, or even at least try to be, don't show the face to the dog, and because that will cause more injury to the very sensitive parts. And when you are approaching the dog, it should be very calm, and we should be very slowly you have to approach. And also even though we are a very educated group of people in this state, and the awareness is still less, that shows the many people out of 22 people, few people were unvaccinated. So, and the wound management also, and also the awareness to vaccinate is still not there in our people. So we have to educate them. And I already told the different behaviors of patterns of the dog. Aggressive dog is there, and fearfully aggressive, and dominantly aggressive, and worried dog is there, and stressed dog is there, and alert dog. You can, by seeing the photo itself, you will be able to understand the behavior of that dog. And also to the children, we have to educate them, because now they are afraid of going to school because of the stray dogs, because even then we have to educate them, and when they interact with the dogs, they have to be give all these points, and they have to be very soft, and they have to be empathetic to the dogs when they go to the dog, and understand the behavior of the dog, and try to stay away from the dog. That's the best education we can give, because otherwise, even if they follow all these rules, if the dog is aggressive, means that can bite. So we have to educate. We have to tell them to try to be away from the dog without running away. Okay. And these are the vaccination campaigns we are doing now, even in Calicut, and we have done around 13,000 vaccination for the own dogs. And now the stray dog vaccination we have started last 20th, and due to lack of scarcity of dog catchers, we are concentrating on vaccinating dogs kept by the dog feeders, and also rescued dogs. And then in few days we'll start the dog vaccination of these stray dogs. And for the permanent solution, because rabies, actually, when we have got a will, and we have got intention to control or eradicate rabies, we can do it. As Dr. Jackson told, it's a neglected disease, so we should not neglect. And what are the points for the permanent solution? Permanently, we have to get rid of rabies. What we have to do? One is shelters and rescue centers, because as long as the dog cannot be euthanized, we need some shelters, but shelters are very costly, and we need a lot of space for the shelter and rescue centers. And next is if law permits, because even Sirijagan committee and also Kerala government approached Supreme Court for the permission for the euthanasia of rabid dogs and exposed stray dogs. Exposed means that's exposed to rabbit jackal bite or dog bite, and also aggressive dogs in hotspots, because we have to reduce, because now the number is above the carrying capacity of our cities and villages. So even though we go for all other humane approaches and ABC and vaccination and everything, because now we have to control some amount of this thing, aggressive dogs or this thing, exposed dogs or rabid dogs, and vaccination of stray dogs, injection or oral base, because oral base we have to popularize, because though it is expensive, because we have to vaccinate effectively all the rabid dogs, stray dogs. We cannot catch all the dogs. Maximum 70%. You can, 70% will give the herd immunity. Even then, to get the feral dogs and also for the wild animals, we have to popularize the oral bait vaccine, rabies vaccine, and as far as possible, and we can do the injections and oral bait vaccine for wild animals, and proper waste disposal and cleanliness. That is, there is no other way to get rid of the stray dogs or this leptospirosis from rats or anything. Waste disposal is the number one. It should be number one priority. And also feeding points for community dogs. Though the waste should be disposed and the number should be reduced, but for the community, for the dogs present, that there should be some facility for the feeding. So that's why the central government told for all the residents association to start feeding points for stray dogs and dispose all the waste. So they'll get the minimum food, and they'll not get they'll not be overfed with the waste. So that approach, both way we have to do the things. We have to dispose the waste properly, and we have to give the proper feeding of the stray animals. And scientific slaughterhouses, that's very important, because the meat waste and the slaughterhouse waste is the main reason for the dogs to get very good quality protein, and the litter, they'll get early sexual maturity will be there, and more number of pups will be there, and when they get the mother get good food, the puppy survival rate also will be more. And when they are exposed to this red meat and also blood and all, when they don't get the meat and blood for 2 or 3 days, the chance of attacking other human is also more. And vaccination, identification, neutering, and licensing of all own dogs, because that licensing policy is there, but we are not implementing it strictly, and we have to strictly implement this vaccination and identification either by microchipping or by the scanning of muscle and all. We can do it. And also neutering is very important, because all the people those who are keeping the dogs, when they start to breed, the main problem is that when the animal is not neutered, there may be crossbreeding, because when the dog is in heat, it will go to any other male dog. So, and if the crossbred means the puppy will not get any prize. So all this crossbred and all this unwanted birth, the dogs will enter into this thing straight. So to neutering of this own dog, pet dogs are very important, and encourage adoption of stray dogs. That's very important, because now we are all looking for our lifestyle change, and we are going fast food, and we go for this exotic breeds. So we have to adopt these stray dogs as our pets. They are very good dogs. So that way also we can support them. And no free roaming owned dogs, because that should be punishable, because when a dog is owned dog is free roaming, it's creating a lot of trouble, because as I told, the chance of survival of their pups are more, and they will also act as a stray dog. So it should not be allowed. And licensing of breeders, because only licensed breeders should be allowed to breed their dog and sell their pups. And even during in Finland, there is one news, and one person want to own a dog, and he should pass interview from the breeders, like that, even that much strict to get a dog there. And heavy penalty for keeping own dogs without license, and to owners for abandoning dogs or any damage by the dog. Just like, our children below if they are 15 years and all, if they make any road accident, their parents are responsible. Just like that, if any own dog, because if you do the microchipping or any identification, if you do any own dog is creating any trouble, any vehicle accident, or if any bites or any other person, And that time, that person, that owner should be made responsible for that. And that should be heavily fined. Then that way you can educate people, or you can persuade people for the responsible dog ownership, and create awareness among all sections of society, behavioral of dogs, rabies. And because I told, because the awareness is still less, that's why we are getting few cases of rabbit death without vaccination. And even the wound management, you know the importance. So we all know very well the importance of washing the wound with soap and running water for 15 minutes and all. And so luckily the rabies virus, because we are lucky, we are to be thankful to the rabies virus also, because that rabies virus from the beginning, from the initial stage, it didn't mutate to any other the same type of the virus. So that we are lucky that with the available vaccine, we could protect all the people. And but we see in the influenza or COVID and all, the time we develop a vaccine, the virus will be mutated to some other form. So and that's as Dr. Jackson sir told, because we had to make phylogenetic study, and then only we will, and also we had to see, because even rabbit virus, there are different types of virus are from the bat or from the dog, many types are the canine or bat, different types are the, we had to look into the details also. And so even then we had to educate people, public about all this thing, and also social responsibilities regarding the waste management. And also control dog population by ABC, animal birth control, or end early neutering in dogs, and ARV. These are all if you follow all these things, I think we'll be able to achieve zero rabies in the near future. Okay, thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shihabudheen. That was a really interesting, engaging talk, because you have shared with us the varied canine behaviors and the importance of understanding their intentions as a way to reduce human-animal conflict. And what you said is right. They are territorial animals, and they formed colonies in almost all our closed down buildings during the COVID lockdown. And probably the stray dogs might have changed to feral dogs in the process. So you have also given us some permanent solutions to control the menace. So let's wait and see how much we will be able to implement. And thank you for that. Also, are you ready to move on to the next presentation, ABC?
Okay, madam.
For years, these animal welfare organizations have been stressing the importance of effective animal birth control programs. And all of us know that municipal bodies are bestowed with the responsibility of running